I'm not hearing anything. Is everybody still there?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay, just checking. I had to get to a spot where chainsaws weren't going on, kids weren't screaming, my husband's TV's not on, so I had to go find a quiet spot.
Well, are we ready?
I believe so.
I'm ready.
All
Yeah.
right. We'll call the meeting to order. And thank you guys for coming or showing up in your own homes today for this session for the Technically Challenged. And I'm sure it'll grow on us as we go through it. Let's start off with hearing if we have any public comments from Alex. Did you collect any?
We have not received any at this point.
Okay, maybe we can check back in when we're finished here today.
I will have it up the entire time. Not a problem.
Okay. We have our minutes from last month. I got those out to you yesterday. Sorry for the short notice, but I thought that Diane did a good job of capturing what we did last time. Any comments on the minutes from February? If not, would someone move to accept the minutes?
I'd move to accept the minutes. This is Laura.
Laura?
I'll second.
Thank you, Alex. We have a second. Any other comments on the minutes? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. That has passed. We'll accept the minutes.
Aye.
That was enthusiastic. Was that, who was that? Well, moving right along, right after this meeting, there'll be a WebEx public meeting at 6 o'clock on the North Oconee River Greenway Trail underpass at Oconee Street. And Alex Bond, I'm wondering if you or someone from Leisure Services could expand on that a bit.
Yeah, I will update you guys. I've got some of the same graphics in the presentation I'll show at staff update. And it's tomorrow. It is tomorrow, not today.
Oh, tomorrow. I was thinking it was today. Okay, good deal.
Yeah, but when we get to staff update, I'd be happy to share. I've got all the images in here.
Okay, that sounds good. And just as I sent out to you guys today, and Alex, you said you had these on PowerPoint too coming up, but had a nice ride from the Nature Center to the crossing near the Waffle House this morning. And not only was I really glad to see the new work that's been done and the work that's going into the Firefly Trail, as well as the connection to the East Campus connector. But I also ran into County Commissioner Mariah Parker walking the trail. And that was really good to see. The trail is getting a lot of use right now. I think people are really appreciating having this outdoor option in spite of the lockdown that people are having to go through. Let's see, we were interrupted by the virus standing in place when we were interviewing our vacancy applicants. We have 7 total that we're trying to interview, and we have 3 more to go for those interviews. And we'll be working with the executive committee to find a date to finish that. And so by our next meeting, we should have a recommendation for 2 new members of the organization. So stand by for that. We provided support last time for River Rendezvous. That'll be coming up this fall uh, if it meets the coronavirus context. So that has happened. We gave the Walt Cook Award to Gwen O'Looney at the Green Life Expo. Unfortunately, she couldn't be there because her mother was quite ill in Florida, but she did make a short video that was very nice, and that was well received. Let's see, next we have the treasurer and the budget report. Derek, are you with us?
I am. So we haven't spent any money in the past couple months. So we've got a balance of $18,178.07. That's what I've got to report.
Yeah, you know, it occurs to me that much of what we budgeted for were for events that have had to be turned down because of the coronavirus issue. So we'll have the executive committee take another look at our funding and see how we might approach that and present that to everyone at the next meeting.
Derek and Nat, did our proposed budget for 2021 get approved yet, or when is that on the slate?
I have not heard anything. Derek, have you?
No, sir.
Alex, do you know?
Yeah, I've got a little bit of an update at the end of mine about budget. May is the time when they show the proposed budgets, so it will be it'll be forthcoming, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on with committee reports. How about communications and outreach?
Yeah, so I imagine these are going to be short and sweet. We did not meet in March. We also did not meet in February, so it's been a while since the Communications and Outreach Committee has met. I will report on the Green Life Expo from the olden days, before everything changed. In the Botanical Gardens, and we tabled there. We tabled next to Athens in Motion was there, and got some good, did some good outreach and got people interested, made some connections, the usual. So that was good. We have, in terms of outreach, we have been approved, certainly, by the farmers market to table there the first Saturday of every month. My personal opinion is that the costs to tabling until either cases go way down, drastically down, or until there's a vaccine outweigh the benefits of doing outreach in a public place. I mean, to me, there's, maybe that's something we need to discuss, but for me, I'm certainly not going to do that. And maybe we can talk about this at the next communications and outreach meeting is, how to move some of our outreach activities online.
And are they going to have the farmers market? Is that for sure?
I think the farmers market, so the first two were canceled, but the farmers market is exempted from, from the stay-at-home order. I don't know. Has anyone been to the farmers market or heard about it? No. So that's a good question. I would assume, those farmers need to sell their food. And, it's not more dangerous than a grocery store for shoppers, I don't think. So I would imagine it's going on. That's something obviously I can check on. I'll check in with Sarah to see if it's happening. But it doesn't make sense to me for what we use it for to do that. We have been posting, the friends have been posting on Instagram. I haven't posted on Facebook in a while, but I will. And I went to Dudley Park on Saturday and it was as full as I've ever seen it without there being an event there. So people, as other people have said, oh, Allison says that the farmers market is working with Collective Harvest to sell their items at this time. So I guess Allison, I guess that means the farmers market isn't happening in person. So I guess that's off the table then. What else? So the Friends group also did not meet in March, so I don't have a report there. Virtually this week or next week. I'll have to check in with Kathy on that. That's pretty much all I have. I do think, now that I'm talking about
it, to East Broad Street, they're going to be working on the Willow Street side during the summer. So we'll see some movement and holding ground there in that area, which was also part of the Pilgrim's Pride effort last July. So we're really feeling like we're able to keep at this point, we're managing to keep holding on to what we were able to accomplish at that point. And we're really looking forward to continuing that. Of course, that, as Alex has mentioned with budget, is all depending on how the budget looks at the end of the day. We've completed all of the documentation that we need to this point, and we're waiting for final approval from the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority. And we expect that May 11th, and with that will give us the green light as we finish up the last of the paperwork. We have a closing date set for the Jacquot, or the Rocking Shoals Outcrop Natural Area Expansion Project, which is the Jacquot or the Gibson Tract, whichever way you learned it, that's it. So we look like somewhere around June 25th, we will add another 71 acres to the Rocking Shoals site. So that's pretty exciting there. We were able, in cooperation and collaboration with Sandy Creek Nature Center and the Nature Division of Leisure Services, we burned the prairie. So burning was still good. We managed to get that done. And we've also done some restoration planting of a specialty seed and herbaceous plant mix in the old logging deck at the Nature Center and among the chestnut planting. So that's about 2 acres there that we're also establishing. As we establish the new prairie area inside the Nature Center, that will give us 2 prairie sites, about 2 acres, acre and a half of prairie in 2 different locations. So we're excited about that. So we haven't been idle. We have continued to work. And keep trying to keep people working during this time, and hope to expand that as our grants become available to us, grant funding. And that's it for me.
Good deal. It's great to hear that's going on. I think people are really taken with that new stretch of the Greenway between College Avenue and North Avenue, and it's great to see that restoration effort going on there.
It's nice to get to the point where you get enough of the invasives out that you feel comfortable you can actually start planting.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments? We'll go to Mark. Mark, how about planning?
Hey, we've stayed open at planning on a part-time basis. So in case anyone asks, or if anyone has any permits that they need to get done, we are open 8 to 12. And then we are doing this split shift thing where we're working from home the rest of the time, and on our days away from the office, I'll say. So that's been good. In that same vein, we have the Planning Commission for May coming up. We took April off, and we're going to try and do this one online. We're splitting it into 2. The only project in that probably comes close to the Greenway is the old Boys and Girls Club project. It came through, I think, about 2 years ago and had a large residential component. It's been pared down now. And if you're not familiar, this is the old structure up behind the flats at Cars Hill. And so now it has the potential for offices up front with a duplex and another unit in the back. It's just about 10 bedrooms. I don't think they're going to try and connect down the hillside to the Greenway, but that might come around eventually. I just don't think the project has enough residents. They can walk down the street and connect through the Easley Mill Greenway connection or something like that. That's about the only thing on the Planning Commission agenda. Hearings Board has been put on hold, as has Historic Preservation. And so outside of that, the other things we're working on are some subcommittees. And this is just kind of a general note for you guys. The two subcommittees are housing, which is really dealing with alternative and higher density housing. And then the second subcommittee is dealing with land use, which is going to kind of focus throughout the future. So we've got a future land use map. This is a growth concept map that group is working on. So if anyone's interested in those things that certainly do pertain to the expansion of the Greenway one day, hopefully, you can find the information on the planning department's website on their calendar. Those should be meeting every other week. We're meeting over teleconference, but if you'd like to join, we'll send you out a link the day of and you can join us. And they're not really public speaking ones, but I'm sure if you had a comment or two, we'd be happy to hear it. That's about all we have in planning.
Anybody else got any comments? Did I comment? All right. Hillary or Carol Myers, are either of you with us now? Apparently not. Just Athens in Motion. Hillary has asked me if we can resubmit our letter of support that we did last year for it's called the BUILD grant, which is an acronym for something, but it's for North Avenue improvements, including some kind of underpass or some kind of passageway for the Greenway Trail. So unless there's some objection, I will go ahead and take our letter of support from last year and adapt it a little bit to resubmit it. I'm looking over our agenda here. I have to back up one. Karen, I short sheeted you. Do you have anything to report in terms of natural resources? Karen Porter?
There we go. I think you can hear me, right? Other than some cleanups and breaking a truck out in the back country, that's all that's going on in Tallahassee. I'm not aware of any other natural resources projects. I don't know if anyone else is. I will say, just this is a good time. We've got several commissioners running who have relationships with the Greenway. Carol Myers, District 8, and also Jerry Neesmith, who's been our liaison with the commission. He's running in District 6. So it's just information, and I hope everybody's submitted their application for an absentee ballot. That's all I have to say.
Last month we talked about Ollie tours of Tallahassee and Beach Haven, and of course all of those tours have been suspended till further notice. So that is something we'll deal with in the future once we know the new ground that we're walking on.
Right. Old ground.
Okay. Do we have anyone from UON here, Diane or Bruno?
Bruno sent me some notes, so I am not here. Let me pop this back up. Okay, so Bruno, River Rendezvous was postponed and it's rescheduled for October 17th, 2020 at the Nature Center. The Upper Oconee Science.
We lost you. Alex? Alex, are you there?
Oops.
Alex, are you there? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Nat.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
can
can hear you.
We lost Alex somewhere.
Alex, say you're there. They don't.
It's,